Flosstube, it's AM Dreaming Stitcher, and I hope the sun will participate with me as I film yet another installment in my long parade of kits and charts and so forth that I have collected over my years of stitching. It's not like I've got a ton of viewers lined up to watch or anything like that, but it's a project that's sort of overwhelming my mind, and I want to get it out of the way. I want it done. I hope that people will find them over time and that those who do watch will enjoy them. The whole point of doing these is because I know I'll never get them all stitched, but I can at least kind of get them off my brain if I show them to you. It probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but maybe there's someone else whose head is wired the same way mine is, and it makes some kind of sense to you. Anyway, today's video is kits coming out of a box that I think of as kind of miscellaneous themed. It's got, I don't know, a little of everything. And it's not as miscellaneous as my later kit installments will be, but these are the ones that basically were not the other kits I've showed. They were not, for example, birds and botanicals. They were not structures and scenery. They were not holiday themed, and so on. Anyway, first one up today is from the Craft Collection. It is called Oriental Harmony. They have a reference number on it, 77299. It's very much like some kind of a tapestry, I guess you could say. Maybe there's a little better angle of it. And here's what it looks like in the packaging. It is on a 16 count ivory Aida. It's copyright 2000. And as with all of my videos, the colors are a bit washed out, but it gives you some idea what that kit is. This one I got in a lot of items on eBay, and I kind of like Peter Rabbit and Beatrix Potter's illustrations, so even though I'm not sure I'm into this big bow door style kind of stitching finish, I certainly like the animals themselves. So maybe I would just use the chart on this someday to stitch Jemima and Peter. But this is from JCA Incorporated. It, I'm sure, has a name somewhere. It has a number, 08130. Peter and Jemima is what they called this kit. And it's on a 14 count Aida. Comes with all you need to make it. So there you go, there's the packaging. See if we can get you a little closer look at Peter and Jemima. Right. Here we have one that I got thinking of one of my siblings, but I'm not sure that really, sometimes we want to make things to gift to others, and I'm just having second thoughts that he would even really care, so I probably wouldn't make it for him, but I still like the design. I like the design for myself as well. This is from Janlin. It's called Jousting Knights. It's by a designer that I quite like, named Donna Vermillion Giampa. The copyright is 1998. It's on a 14 count Aida that looks to me like it's a blue, just like that background, so you don't have to stitch it. And I'm sure this is probably available maybe as a chart, thanks to her sister kind of taking over, offering her patterns and things on places like eBay. I don't know if she has another venue for it. But here you go, there's the whole thing packaged up in the back. There's some metallic thread in there. I don't know if you can see the pretty metallic glimmer of that. But that's Jousting Knights from Janlin. I've seen quite a few people work on this one, and I do have it in a pattern book as well, but I thought it would be nice to actually have the materials in hand. It was put out as a kit by Design Works. The designer is Joan Elliott. It's on a 14 count Aida with floss beads and of course all your instructions. They call it Celestial Dragon. And as I said, I've definitely seen people stitching this up on their own choice of fabrics and things like that. But it's a very nice design, and I do have it in pure pattern form as well, but I'm just kind of a kit girl, I guess. This one, another dragon from Pana. They call it My Dragon Cushion Front. It's got some numbers on the packaging. I don't know if they would help you. And there's the packaging. It's on a fairly large count, I think, but I'm not seeing it jump out at me. They did a number of these cushion things. Let me put up something else for you to look at while I try to see if I can find a fabric size. It says Gamma Aida Fabric KO3. I don't know if that means, I know they're very large squares. I really don't know what size that actually is. Okay, the next thing that I put up for you to have a look at is from Jan Lin. It's St. George and the Dragon. Got it on the secondhand market. This seems to be a slew of dragons in a row, doesn't it? So I guess my fantasy kits are definitely in this box because there's definitely more dragons coming up. This was Jan Lin number 125144. Another design by Donna Vermilion Giampa. It's on a 14 count Aida that looks like it's kind of an off-white. Maybe an ivory. And there you go, St. George. I hope he's not too blurry looking for y'all. And he also has some metallic thread in there to give him a little bling. This one is from Joy Sunday. I do remember showing it when I got it and saying that I had sort of looked into it, and they did license this from the artist, which, at least according to what I saw, which makes me more comfortable having it. I've seen a lot of people stitching it. It's called The Girl Sat on the Dragon Reading a Book. What the actual original art was called, I don't know. Excuse me a moment, I'm going to have to pause you. I know you didn't notice that, but I had a cough coming on, and I didn't want to cough all over you. And the packaging doesn't show you much except their instructions. She's on a 14 count, and she is counted. I was not interested in any printed version of that. This one, on the other hand, which I also think I showed as a haul video once, they call Dinosaur, but it's definitely some kind of tiny little dragon with mushrooms growing out of his body, and he's sitting on mushrooms, and it's just unusual. It's from Joy Sunday. It's D956, but it also says 6951 Dinosaur. I don't know if any of that would help you find it. I don't know if he is available from some other company, but this is the counted version, 14 count, from Joy Sunday. There's still a dragon or two coming up, but here we have Artiste Unicorn. I'm sorry, not a fancy name. It was from Cooler Design Studio, so I expect you can get the chart from them possibly at their website. I've seen people stitching this who just pretty much changed out all of the fabric and floss because Artiste can be such an issue, so you might as well just get the pattern. But I've had this one open looking at it. It's on kind of an ivory Aida, it looks like to me. And I would always just caution if you're doing an Artiste. I've learned now, compare your chart to your sorted floss before you start. Make sure they're using the colors they say they are in the right places. Make sure you have everything. Don't just dive in. You may regret it. Check everything out before you start. Okay, here's another Jan Lin. It makes me think whenever I see it of Teresa Wentzler's castle with the dragon. This is obviously similar. It's called Water Dragon. It is copyright 1996 from Jan Lin. I got it back in the day when it was pretty new. It is on a 14 count Aida. I have seen it stitched, not nearly as often as the Teresa Wentzler piece, but I like it just as well, really, and it doesn't put you through all the blends and things. But that's Water Dragon by Jan Lin. The fabric seems to be kind of a pale gray. This, I think, is the last of my dragons. I mentioned it in a chart video. These were released as charts. They are from Cross My Heart Incorporated. This one is Earth Dragon, and I had an opportunity to get it on the secondhand market. I think I paid more than the person who was selling it did, because it looks like they got it on clearance. But it's copyright 2001. and it's on a dark fabric, I think, yes. I'm not sure if they tell me what count the fabric is, but I expect it's probably something standard like a 14. A lot of floss in there. Yeah, they're not actually indicating the fabric count. Next up are a few that I would categorize as Southwest designs. I have kind of a fondness for those. I do live in that part of the world in the southwestern United States. So it's an aesthetic that I've kind of grown up with having around me, and I guess that's why some of it appeals to me. This one is from Monarch Horizons, called The Weaver. The designer is Roger W. Reinardi, and I've done other pieces by him. The copyright appears to be 1989. And I think there were a series of at least a few of these, two or three or more of these style like this weaver. And there it is in the kit. Here's another southwestern one from Sunset, which many of you know was an imprint of Dimensions. This is copyright 1993. It's called Southwest Collection. I don't like it as well as a lot of my other Southwest kits, but I think I may have gotten it paired up with something else. I don't recall. Or I might have just really, really been on a Southwest kick when I got that one. Oh, and the back, I beg your pardon, it's on kind of an ivory Aida. I know my color isn't showing that to you, but it is. This one I like better. It is also from Sunset. It is called Southwest Ceramics, copyright 1994 from Dimensions. Both of these are a little sooner than I started stitching, 93 and 94. I wasn't stitching yet, I hadn't learned how. So I got these years later on the secondhand market. It says it is Karen Marie Zabrowski's dramatic design. So I think she's responsible for the original art, possibly. Or it might be she is the cross-stitch designer. In either case, it's on a 14-count black Aida. And it's just this very dramatic looking row of pottery. And there you go. Now, for those who've watched a lot of my videos, you're probably getting really tired of these rugs of the Southwest. But I have a fondness for geometric or abstract or graphic kind of designs. I don't know how to describe them. And I have a whole book, for example, by Maria Diaz that seems to be nothing but this kind of thing. It just so happens that these rugs are Southwest rugs, but really anything with that kind of pattern, that kind of graphic design element to it just appeals to me somehow. This particular one is called Two Gray Hills, Navajo Weaving. It is from NP Design Special Editions Rugs of the Southwest, copyright 2000. I have mentioned in other videos they are now Southwest Decoratives, which you can find at their website, Southwest Decoratives and Cocopelli Quilting Company. For a while they were in Albuquerque, no longer. They were in Colorado when this one was done up. But there you go, they sort of bagged up everything themselves. This was definitely an older kit. And there's just a couple more from them in the special editions. This is Burnt Water, another Navajo weaving, copyright 2001. And again, the same kind of packaging where they've sorted the colors for you into little bags. It's on a 14-count Aida. This is one of their newer packages once they had become Southwest Decoratives, and they actually give you the designer's name, Nancy DeCoco. It is, again, the Rugs of the Southwest Special Edition series. This one is called Gray Hills. And it's on a 14-count Aida. And they also, you might have noticed, they give you finished design sizes. So what makes these their special editions is they're substantially larger than the others. This one is 9.5 by 12.25 inches when finished. Same kind of packaging though. Rugs of the Southwest, Tisnospas, Navajo Weaving, copyright 1999, NP Designs. I hope I wasn't too badly off on that pronunciation. I know I looked it up once because I really wanted to know. And I've seen this one stitched up. It's really lovely. It has so many different colors and things in it that it was just more effective to purchase it this way as a kit than to try to get together all those flosses, I felt at the time. Okay, because, by the way, these are also available as charts from their website. You don't have to buy kits in order to do these if any of you actually like these the way I do. Rugs of the Southwest, special edition Ganado. I might be saying that wrong. Navajo weaving, copyright 2000 NP Designs. It's about an 8 1/4 by 13-inch piece when finished. And there you go. And these are all of these rugs are full coverage, obviously, because you're stitching the full dimensions of the piece. Okay, that was it for the Southwesty ones, I believe. Now we have a couple of religious themed ones. I don't have too many of these. This is the Good Shepherd from Lucilla. I have seen folks stitching religious themed ones that I thought were just lovely, but not too many called to me enough for me to get them. Something about this stained glass looking one made me think of the windows in the church where I grew up. I haven't been there since I was 8 years old. I don't remember it very clearly. I can't tell you for sure what those windows look like, but this makes me think of them. It just does. And it may have nothing to do with them. I don't know. It's copyright 2012, Busilla Corporation. It's on a 28 count even weave. And if you've watched my kit parades, you know most of them are Aida because that's just the way a lot of kits come. But this one is an even weave. And here's one that I have seen others working on, and I think it is available perhaps as a pattern now. It is from Janlin, 14 count Aida. It's called A New Beginning. It's an ark scene. We have all our animals leaving the ark. I liked the clouds and the grass and all of that, and I think it was, I know I got it at Hobby Lobby. I think it was one of those weeks when they had everything in their stitching department marked down, 30% off or whatever they were doing. And so that's A New Beginning from Janlin. I like to keep these videos to about half an hour, and I'm getting close to being halfway through my box, but this one may not come out to a full half hour. I might get through everything more quickly. We'll see. I'd like to finish the box in this video. This is apparently a company called Cross Stitch Wonders. I'm not familiar with them. This particular design is Fall Reflection, designed by Marcia Manning. It is Mount McKinley, and I just happened to find it in a clearance bin. There's all the floss, lots of blues and darks there for your background or for the body of the mountain and the lake. It's just really lovely. I really wish I could stitch everything. I want to make all of these things. This is coming up are a few that I got under unusual circumstances. This was another one that was in a lot of cross stitch, and I'm not normally interested in these kind of wreath things. They're beautiful when stitched up. I didn't know that I was ever interested in them, and I had this one put in a discard pile, but it kept niggling me. It kept calling on me. It kept saying, don't you really think that would be beautiful stitched up? It is called Wildflowers. It's from a series of Nature's Window from Designs for the Needle, and I think that it probably stitches up with all those bright tropical colors into a really lovely, lovely piece. So that's, and it's 14 count antique white Aida. That's why I pulled it out of my discard pile and said, no, it's going to bother you if you get rid of that. You need to hang on to it, and maybe you will stitch it someday. These other three here, I know I showed once. I can't remember the circumstances. I think it was so-and-so. I think it was something to do with placing an order for a certain amount or some other thing. They gave me some freebies, 3 freebies. And they're not exactly my style, but tastes and interests change over time. So I decided to hang on to them because I may either find somehow in some crazy way some stitchy friend in person who's interested in these, or I might actually find that they are calling to me, that my tastes change to what these 3 are. But it was nice to get them. I didn't know what they would be until they arrived, and I still see them sold out there or available out there. This one is Dragonfly Dreams by Charlotte Rennie. The company seems to be, it says CWOC Stitch. Maybe there's more about that on the back. 14 count white Zweigert. DMC threads, just CWOC Stitch. I'm just not sure what that stands for. Here's a second of the ones I got at that time called Pretty Postcard. Obviously these are British. I said I got them from so-and-so, which was out of the UK, because American post boxes, mailboxes do not look anything like that. Pretty Postcards by Elizabeth Davies. Little girl with her dog. And Creative World of Crafts. I found what the CWOC is. It said on that one. Creative World of Crafts. And this is Foxing Around by Charlotte Rennie, the same designer that did the Dragonfly. And it's also on a 14 count white Zweigert Aida. There you go, all packaged up. Some of these kits sometimes scare me when the floss looks like there's just not much there, and other kits have a ton of floss that looks like, how could I ever use all that up? And so I worry about the ones that don't seem to have much, because what if there isn't enough there? This one is another one that I had pulled. I think part of the thing is that there was room in this box, and that's how some of these got rescued from the discard pile. I have so many bunnies to do, so many rabbits, and so they're so much more appealing than this design, and yet I went out of my way to get it when I acquired it, so I pulled it back out of the discards. It is from the Creative Circle. It is their number 2442, Winter Rabbits, designed by Mike Fott. It's on a 14 count Aida. The copyright is 1988. And there it is packaged up. And I'm almost halfway through the box as far as the way the box is laid out. It might be more than half of the kits. This is from Creative Accents, Circle of Wolves, designed by Diana Casey. Another one that I got in a lot of cross stitch at eBay. It's a 14 count white Aida, copyright 2003, Dimensions. So Creative Accents apparently was another imprint that Dimensions was using at one time. And there it is with all its wolfy colored flosses. And lots of people there, this is a popular theme for kits and designs, is wolves, and I've never been strongly into them, but I thought keeping one wasn't going to hurt me. Okay, now we have, as the Monty Python would say, and now for something completely different. I don't have a whole lot of human figures, but of those I do, things like this are what appeal to me. This is a pipe major. Counted cross-stitch designs from the paintings of Malcolm Greensmith. So apparently he did a painting of this. And Heritage Crafts, which is the company that did this one, came up with their pipe major. I think I got him from one of the catalogs. No, I may have been able to get him from so-and-so. I used to see him in one of the catalogs, and he was priced beyond my means by far. And then I think I had the opportunity to get it from so-and-so. I really do miss them. It says copyright Susan Ryder, 2009. Another Heritage Crafts. These I think I got through some seller on Amazon way back when. It's from the Nostalgia Collection. It is Titanic, so it's based on the original posters, advertising memorabilia. So there we have a poster for the Titanic. And there it is all kitted up. Copyright 2007. 14 count Aida. And in the same series, the same Nostalgia Collection, the Queen Mary. Cunard line, the Queen Mary. I don't know if I mentioned before in any of my videos or anything how much my father was into ships. It's copyright 2010. So I think that's why those particular things appeal to me. Again, it was something that I grew up around. Here we have the one and only Disney Dreams that I have. They had others in the stores. when I got this, they never quite, I'm sure I showed this in the past, they were always a little too garish for me. I have some kind of sensitivity to bright colors, I guess, and a lot of the Disney dreams are just, it's like color salad all thrown together, and they can actually make me queasy to look at. I really don't know how to describe it. It's the way my brain is wired. But this one didn't do that. It's a Snow White Discovers the Cottage. It's on an 18 count Aida. I know some people swap out the fabrics in these. It was 2009. And the only other one I ever gave any serious consideration to was the Winnie the Pooh. And I kind of regret not getting it, but I have no regrets that I have none of the others. I do actually have a vignette from the Fantasia that will be in my small kits collections. This is one that I saw back in the day when I started stitching and finally got it much later. It says it's copyright 2004 from Jan Lin, so it was in my early years of stitching, but I only got it a few years ago. It is from the Platinum collection. It's on a 14 count Aida. It has that kind of Asian aesthetic that appeals to me. They say it has a color chart. Cranes, it's just called Cranes. And I know it has metallics and things in it. So there you go, on black Aida with a lot of very metallic looking floss coming along with that. I don't know if I'll make it through in my half hour. I might have to overflow some of these into my next video. This is another Platinum collection from Jan Lin. I have seen people stitching this one, I believe, or certainly very similar designs. This one is Old World Map. It is copyright 2004 from Jan Lin. Again, something that I saw in the catalogs in my early days of stitching, and I finally broke down and got it. It's designed by Diana Thomas on a 14 count Aida. I've had it, I don't know, at least 10 years now, I'm sure. But I didn't get it when I first saw it because my income just wasn't at that point, and then I was working and I was able to get things, and now I'm retired and can't afford anything again, so life cycles through these things. But in the brief time when I felt like I was flush enough to buy, I bought some of these. This is from Busilla. It is called Four Seasons. It's on a 28 count ivory even weave. Again, I don't have all that many even weaves among my kits because it's just not that common, but I really liked these Four Seasons. How much I would love to stitch every single one of these. If only life were long enough to let us do that. Here's one that I got on the secondhand market. I'm going to have to leave her in her bag because she's been opened and it's just falling apart. But this is from the Heritage Collection. It's an Elsa Williams piece called Mapping the Seas, and it wasn't very expensive, and it is out there on the secondary market. As I said, my father was into ships, and so I really like this design, and the map part of it and everything about it appeals to me. It is on a 14 count Aida, and as I said, it has definitely been opened. Not necessarily by me. I think it came in this bag to me. It's a pity they sometimes send these things with these huge ugly stickers on them. But this one I was influenced by a Flosstuber. It is Boy King from Jan Lin Corporation, copyright 2003. It says it was designed by True Colors. He has a lot of actually very gold metallic kind of floss in him. And I saw him being stitched up and he just looked splendid. You know how often they do when you compare the outside of the kit to what you get in actual stitching. It's such a difference, and it's so enticing when you see them in person. Speaking of persons, this would have been for a late family member who is no longer with us, who liked World War II things. And by what I mean by that is he did strategic wargaming and just the whole history of the era as far as military things. And I don't know that he was especially into Winston Churchill. I don't know that this would have actually appealed to him. But when I purchased it, I was thinking of him. And what he would have thought had I ever gotten it done for him, I don't know. But this is from the Craft Collection Limited. Winston Churchill, reference number 76280. And it's on a 16 count antique white. This one looks like it slipped over from the other side of the box where the Southwest designs were meant to be. So I think I'll wrap up the video with this one. There is still more in this box to go, but perhaps I'll begin filming one of my miscellaneous ones if I get a chance. Not that this one hasn't been miscellaneous, but there's been some kind of theme to some of the piles, as you could tell, like all dragons or all Southwest or whatever. But here we have Sunset's Southwest Still Life. It was a gift from friends early in my stitching years. It is copyright 1992, Dimensions Incorporated. Done on a 14 count ivory Aida. And there you go. Very nice pastel colors, kind of left over from the 80s. It is from the early 90s after all, so that's not very surprising. And just a little preview of what would be up next in my next video. But I want to keep these around half an hour, and I don't know if my daylight would cooperate for me to get to the end of this box anyway, so I'm going to call this one off here and pick up where I left off in my next video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. As I said, I'm doing it mostly for me because I can't stitch them, but I can maybe from time to time at least feel like I'm doing something with them. And this is one way of doing that. I have filmed all of the charts I could find by now. I am still working through the kits, and so this series will continue after this video, but eventually they'll all be done, and then maybe I can just stitch. I hope you're having a great stitching day too. Bye-bye.